Hi, I'm Alana. Welcome to the Nightly News Remote Learning Edition. Today we sat down and interviewed Superintendent Mr. Blake about the recent changes to go all remote. Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning,
I
Alana.
know these are some current time. You must be very busy, so thank you for taking time to do this interview today.
You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
So it's a pleasure to speak with you too. What was the overall reason we went back to fully remote learning?
So clear and simple, it's the quarantine requirements. The students, the staff, families have been great relative to keeping the buildings open and keeping each other safe and doing the right things. But the quarantine requirements the past week have just been too much to keep the staff in the building. It's not fair to the parents to not really know if their building's going to be open or closed on a daily basis. And it became increasingly more difficult on the staff, specifically at the elementary level. When you come to work every day and not knowing if you're going to have to take on some kids from another grade level. Our TAs were fantastic of helping pitch in and cover. Principals were covering classes. We just had so many people being quarantined, not because they were sick, but because they were in contact with someone that was sick, and there's just not enough subs to cover the building. So rather than the inconsistency for the next couple of weeks of not knowing if the building's going to be open or closed, we felt it best to be completely remote so folks could have that consistency and know what to expect.
When do you think you'll return back to hybrid model?
So our goal right now is January 11th, Monday, January 11th. I get asked often, I just got asked on the radio why I think January will be any better than December, and I don't think January will be any better than December with the virus rates in the state and the community. I think it's going to be as equivalent as it is now, if not worse. But the fact is the school virus rates have continued to be pretty low. People have stayed home when they're sick, and the issue has been the quarantine. So I'm hopeful that during the first week of January, when we reopen schools after the new year, that we can look at our staff numbers and see that we have enough staff that are not quarantined to be able to reopen on January 11th. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but I'm hopeful that we'll have enough folks that are not quarantined to be able to reopen schools at that time. We want you guys back in school as soon as possible. I know students want to be in school. A lot of our staff want to be in school. It's really an unfortunate situation all around. But if the schools don't have enough adults to make sure they operate correctly and safely, then it's not wise to be open.
How do you feel about school transitioning fully remote again?
It hurts my heart, to be honest with you. It was a painstaking decision and conversation. I think, and that's because the people that have been coming to work and coming to school have been working very hard to follow rules to make sure that schools are safe and that we aren't transmitting the virus amongst each other. And I think the data shows that, not just in Rome, but if you look at schools around the state and country, you see that public schools seem to be a much safer environment than the grocery store might be. So I don't feel great about it because I want to see kids in school. Kids want to be in school. Our teachers and staff want to be at work and want to be with kids. I'm an advocate of everybody come to school if you want to come to school, and just wear your masks and continue to follow the protocols, and we're all here 5 days a week. Unfortunately, the rules don't really allow us to do that right now, and the quarantine rules further exacerbate the problem, causing staff shortages that don't allow us to be here. But when I look at the big picture, I do think the consistency for kids and families and staff is much more important right now than trying to keep the schools open just because we want to have kids here.
Our final question today is, have you given any thoughts to graduation yet?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Have I given any thoughts to graduation yet? I have given a little bit of thought to graduation. And in complete candidness and transparency, the only thought I've given to graduation is I hope it's not as difficult as last year. I haven't gotten that far. Really, right now what's in front of me is trying to find a way to make sure we get kids back in school ASAP. We are in the midst of budget season for us, which is a huge undertaking and could potentially be a nightmare this season. What I will say about graduation for our class of 2021, regardless of where we stand with terms of virus situations, come June, we know that you will graduate in the stadium in some fashion, just like the class of 2020 did. I am hopeful that we'll be able to have the entire class together for their graduation in June. I have the utmost confidence that the student body is going to work with the school district to make sure we can get over any hurdle we can, just as they did last year. Families certainly want to be able to see their kids graduate, and it really what it's going to boil down to, a lot like it did last year, is going to be what restrictions or requirements are in place at that time for mass gatherings. I'm hopeful that the vaccine will help. I doubt we'll see the vaccine reach the general public and population by June, but that doesn't mean that some restrictions will be eased in terms of large mass gatherings. So what I'm willing to say as we sit here in December is that, graduation will happen in the stadium. It will happen in person. If we have to do the small mini ceremonies again to make sure that families can participate and students can be live, we'll do that. But I am hopeful that we'll see a lot of changes between now and then, and we'll all be able to be together.
Thank you for this interview today, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Be well.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Remember, RFA, take charge and show some RFA pride. We're all in this together.